everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, hold on 1 second, I have to turn this off. I'm back. What a day it's been. I went for a run this morning in the snow and it was a lot of fun. And then I went to Trader Joe's to pick up a couple items before I am stuck in my house for these next couple of days because it's going to be like in the -2. I'm used to the cold, but I've never experienced that. So I got some groceries that will hold me over until the weather warms up a tad. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back if you've come back. But today I just wanted to talk to you about how I got into running. I also want to talk about my goals for this year, for 2024. So let's get started. We'll start from the beginning. So I've always been an athlete. I've done cheerleading, I've played soccer, I was a ballerina, gymnast, you name it, I tried it, even basketball. Not good at that. So I've always been pretty athletic and always active. But I never truly got into running until my freshman year of college. I did some summer classes with some student athletes, and these athletes had summer practices. If you didn't know this, rowing does not practice in the summer. So I would always be in the dorms and all of the other student athletes would be practicing, working out, and I was just at my dorm not doing anything. And the gym that was on campus was a 20-minute walk, and I really did not feel like making that trip. For those of you who don't know, I went to the University of Washington, and Seattle had so many walking paths, just a lot of places where you could run. So while my friends were all at practice, I would go on for little walks and I would see a bunch of people running, biking, just being active on this trail. And I was like, you know what? That's going to be me. Those people that are just running past me, that will be me. I grabbed my Nike shoes that I had for way too long, put some shorts and a tank top on, and went for my first run. And let me tell you, it was miserable. I think I ran like 1.5 miles, not even, and I was dead. I gave up after that. Running's not for me. We're not gonna do it. We're just gonna keep walking and we're just gonna make it to the gym occasionally. So after the summer classes, I went back home for a bit and then went out back to Seattle in the fall. I was on that trail sometimes and I kept on seeing people run and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this again. I asked some of my friends on the rowing team and some of my other friends that are runners, how did they run? Because I ran just 1 mile and thought I was going to die. And my one friend told me this tip and it changed my life. I put on my favorite album. At the time, it was Reputation. And I played the first song, and for that first song, I ran the whole time. And then when the next song came up, I walked. And I think I got 3 miles in. I could be off on these times, but I went for a long time just running, walking. And I actually had a blast doing this. And I did this for a couple of other runs, and it just got me to run. After that, I started building up my run time. So instead of doing 2 minutes and 30 seconds of a song, I would run for 2 whole songs and then walk for another. And this just week after week, I was able to build up all the way to running for 30 minutes. It took a lot of time. It didn't happen overnight. And not all runs were great, but I kept at it and I was able to work my way up running a whole marathon. And I never thought I would be able to do that. One other tip when you're first starting to run is to find your favorite playlist. This tip is from my mom. Because when I first started running, my mom was a big runner. I forgot to mention that. The only way that she got into a run or really got into a nice rhythm when she started running was a great playlist. So I remember being in my dorm, making all these fun playlists, rain run playlists, or I had this one that I loved, Screaming Color playlist. It was just a sunset run playlist. I also had a snow run playlist. I actually ran to it today. So that really helped me looking forward to my runs. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this playlist. It will match my run. Another tip when you first start running, make sure you get good shoes. Seriously. I had just my Nikes I would wear to the gym, and that was great for the gym, but when you're trying to run just like 2 miles, it hurts. I love Brooks, the Ghosts. Those are my favorite shoes of all time. I've tried Hoka's, I tried some Nike shoes, and I just keep going back to the Brooks. I think they're a good basic running shoe. They're light. I don't like the thick base. I like the thinner base. You wouldn't think it would make that big of a difference. It makes a huge difference, okay? So when you're first starting running, go get a pair of nice running shoes and they will last you a long time. Speaking of that, I need to get new running shoes. I believe I mentioned this in my last video. Try and get the headphones with the wires. Don't get AirPods, just because when you start getting up in mileage, your AirPods will die on you, and it will be a terrible run. It is awkward when you're just playing music from your phone and running on a trail and passing people with your music on full blast, just on your speaker. But you do what you gotta do sometimes. So that's why I recommend having those. But Mr. Arlo, my cat, ate them, so I have to get new ones. So that's my running story, like how I got started with it all. But I can get into some of the races that I've completed as a runner. I just need a little coffee break. I have so much work to do after I make this video. It's fine. All right, let's move on to some of the races that I did. So after I got into running, I was kind of getting tired of running alone. I didn't really have anything to work towards, so I started looking up online some races in my area. I found a half marathon race. It was in Seattle and it was for free. Perfect. Let's do it. The only problem was I only ran 7 miles before signing up, and I only had 2 months to prepare for this race. I really just full sent. It kept me motivated to keep running, and I was up for the challenge. I'm not gonna tell you my training plan, especially for this race, because I had no training plan. Run as far as you can before the race comes, which is not a good strategy. Do not do that. I get to the half marathon. It was crazy. I'll give a little story without going completely offside, but I went by myself to this half marathon, and since I was a freshman at this time, I didn't have a car, and none of my friends had a car, so I Ubered to this place. Got there, the Uber driver dropped me off at the wrong location, and these guys, who thankfully were running the race, was like, "Are you looking for the half marathon race?" And I said yes, and they said, "Well, we can take you to the starting line." My dumbass went into the car and they took me to the starting line. Don't do that. Don't get into strangers' cars. Anyways, I made it to the starting line safe, and I ran the half marathon. And I wish I could say it went well, and my first half marathon was this incredible thing, but it was horrible. I had the worst time ever. Halfway through this race, I sprained my ankle. Like, probably one of the worst sprains I've had. I've sprained it before cheerleading, but this one hurt so bad, and it was halfway through. Did I mention that? It was halfway through the race. I wasn't even near the end. And I just powered through. I said, you know, I made it this far, might as well keep going. And I definitely damaged my ankle for a little bit and had to rest, but I completed my first half marathon. Hold on, there's a siren. And honestly, it had me hooked after that, because even though I did get hurt and it was probably the most painful thing I've ever experienced, it was just the fact that I completed something that I didn't think I could do. I decided that I was going to run a half marathon my sophomore and junior year. Sophomore year, I ran the same half marathon, and junior year, because of COVID, they didn't have it, so I just ran my own. Now, when senior year approached, I have to do something bigger because I am dramatic like that. Kind of be iconic if I did a half marathon freshman year, sophomore, junior, Senior year, we have to bump it up. We're gonna do a marathon. Yeah, cause why not? I'm not gonna give you the training plan for how I ran that Seattle marathon because my God, I just winged it. I had the same experience as my first half marathon with my first marathon. I was in a lot of pain. I hurt my knee at mile 17 and it was literally just a struggle from there. The same thing happened after I crossed the finish line of that marathon. It was just, I don't know how to explain it, but if you ever have the chance or opportunity to do a full marathon, go and do it. Because once you cross that finish line, there's no way of describing. I wish I could describe to you what it feels to like, you train so hard for that and then you finally cross that finish line. It's kind of an adrenaline rush and you want to do it again. Everyone's cheering you on and all my friends were there and it was just a great time. Hence why I did another marathon, but in Pittsburgh. I personally like the Pittsburgh one better than the Seattle one, but we won't get into that right now. So that was how I started running. Some of the races that I completed in my running career. I think my all-time favorite race that I've completed so far was the Pittsburgh Marathon. Literally the whole time you were running, there was people cheering you on. I got to go to all like the little neighborhoods in Pittsburgh and my friends and family were all there and even my girls that I coached for rowing showed up. So much energy, so many people there supporting me. I just loved that race. Now moving into the year 2024, what is next for me when it comes to running? I don't really know, but I do have some ideas that might be out there, but I didn't think I could do a half marathon or a full marathon. I try and reach high for things because I surprise myself and you can surprise yourself too, honestly. For this year, I really want to work hard to train to qualify for the Boston Marathon. Now, my typical pace is usually a 9:30 on a good day. Sometimes it's like 9:15 for like a 6-mile run. Like, since I've started running it was just about pacing. I didn't worry about time. I was like, I'm staying active, I'm moving. I didn't really focus on my pace too much because I got in my head about it. But I feel this year I want to challenge myself and see how fast I can truly go when it comes to long distance. That's one of my main goals. Is maybe I can't qualify this year for the Boston Marathon, but I would love to just work on my speed for this year and get faster and stronger. I'm adding more weight sessions to like my training plan and also speed workouts, which I don't like doing, but I'm adding them to my training plan. I don't know if I'm going to do a marathon this year. Maybe I should just sign up for one. It's just hard with grad school, especially the different classes and clinics. It's hard to see if I can get in the miles that I want to for a half marathon or a marathon. But I'm thinking about it. Maybe this year's just train to get faster and sign up for a marathon or a half marathon for next year. I think it'd be really cool to do the Chicago Marathon. Anyways, thanks for listening. Sorry if I rambled for most of this video, but those are just some tips and my goals for the upcoming year when it comes to running. If you have any other video ideas, please leave them in the comments and give this video a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next week. I'll post again next Sunday. If you are living in Chicago, please stay warm and stay inside your house. But I will see you guys all next week. Bye.